Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the CR7 Podcast. The RTGAC is back, and today we're coming to you live here on YouTube. Shades of the summer once again. We streamed over the summer, the podcast, and we could not film Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so we did do this a little later here on Thursday. I forgot that my ironer was back there, so just ignore that. So we'll be talking. We'll be doing, what we were going to be talking about on Monday, and I'll be streaming live at 8:15, the Eagles versus the Commanders, Thursday Night Football, so make sure you guys tune into that. But before we get into the rundown, Cole, say what's up to the people.
How's it going, everybody? Good to be back. Sorry I missed Combat Hour.
It's all good.
Next week, definitely. I got really nothing else. I'm hyped for the Eagles game tonight, and
all right. Going. Yep, Combat Hour was today. I did forget to mention that. Me and Ryan Connaughton were live. Let's make sure the mic. Yep, all right, we are. Make sure the microphone's working because I have some PTSD from the last edition of Combat Hour. But nonetheless, so Eagles game. Might do Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson tomorrow. Not entirely sure. UFC 309 on Saturday. All on Ryan the Great RTG right here on YouTube. Then on Saturday, 12 o'clock, on WSJP's YouTube, St. Joe's Prep versus Emotech. City Championship, so make sure you guys are live or in there for that audio only game. And again, to the rundown for this week's edition of the show, we will be doing our weekly Eagles recap, even though the Eagles do play tonight, but we'll be reviewing the Cowboys game. And then I will be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. Are they as good as hyped? And then Cole will be giving out some mid-season awards. And then we'll be talking about the Philadelphia 76ers and how they are in some pretty bad trouble right now. And then we'll be also talking about how impressive the Cavaliers have been. We'll do some Ryan's rants, and then we will give our Eagles predictions for tonight's game. So without further ado, let's get into it. Cole, the Eagles dominated the Cowboys last Sunday in Dallas. Talk about this team.
Yeah, first of all, you'd love to see it. Hurts, he showcased that, yes, he did have a bad half, but he did a really great job bouncing back from that half. 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He did fumble. That was kind of brutal. But, it is what it is. Zeke gifts you one right on the red zone, so you gift it right back to him. So it's okay. I'll move on to the rushing game. I like what Saquon's been doing. 14 carries, 66 yards, almost 5 per carry. So I like what he's been doing. Especially the last couple weeks, obviously, he showcased his dominance. In the past, Hurts did a really good job on the run. I like that Will Shipley was getting some garbage time. I like what he was doing. And then the receiving, we really did a great job, distributing the ball. Other than A.J. Brown, no one really had an incredible game, I'd say. A.J. Brown, 5 receptions, 109, no touchdown. He was starting 77 times, though, much more than anybody else on this team. We didn't throw very much. There really was no need to, especially in the second half after we got that big lead in the third quarter. Dotson, he had that one great grab. Goddard, Smith. Everyone was fine, good enough. Johnny Wilson with that touchdown grab. I like what he's been doing, really getting open, especially since he's a bigger target. You love to have a physical guy like that to pair with A.J. Brown as well when he's out there. I really got nothing else. I'll move on to the defense real quick here. Jalen Carter, he's done a great job. We have not credited him enough here. Half a sack, tackle for a loss, 2 QB hits. He's had a great season this year. And statistical-wise, it hasn't been that great. But, if you're watching these games, you're seeing him out on the field. He's been doing a great job, especially in the run defense. He's been very, very solid. It doesn't help. He's been doubled like half his times that he's out there, or more than half, to be honest. And then Brandon Graham, they're glad he can get half a sack there as well. And then Bryce Huff finally, he had those back-to-back sacks.
And the strip sack too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, huge. Those are just the things you want to see from him, especially because, he hasn't had that great of a year. Just to get out there, get some good reps. Obviously, the strip sack, you love to see it. And then, Yeah, I want to touch on the linebackers. Zach Vaughn and Nakobe Dean, phenomenal job again. Zach Vaughn, big tackle for a loss. And I can go on and on. These guys have really stepped up to the plate this year, especially, after, you go into the season thinking Devin White's going to be the leader of that linebacker core, and now you got Vaughn, Dean, really holding it down pretty well thus far. And, Isaiah Rodgers, that's Ryan Floyd.
Man.
He really balled out. And then, really only Quinyon Mitchell, obviously, that's my guy.
Oh, yeah.
Been with him since day one.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that, but he's been so incredible this year. 2 pass deflections this game, and Slay wasn't that bad either. 2 pass deflections as well for him. Again, there's not much there for Dallas really. Cooper Rush threw for 45 yards. That is just brutal. You're not going to win a game like that. Trey Lance got some PT in there, threw a pick. He did not look very great. It's looking like a bad. It wasn't that bad of a addition because they do need a younger guy on that team. Zeke was bad. Donald, I like what he was doing. They need to get him a little bit involved more, especially with the Dak injury. But at this point, you might just want to tank for a good draft pick. Because you should try and get maybe a run back. Maybe you go for Jancy because there's really nothing there rushing wise. I like Donald, but he's not that great. And then receiving, there's really nothing there because you didn't have Dak. CeeDee Lamb isn't getting nearly enough yards. He's getting enough targets. He's been targeted 10 times, but again, Cooper Rush, he's just not delivering those passes very well. Brooks, he almost had a really great grab there in the first half, I believe, but Quinyon Mitchell pushed him out of bounds. Really great job defending there. And then 4 fumbles lost for the Cowboys. That just cooked them. And then Overshown was very, very, very good for the Dallas defense. And that's something you want to see, just because, you've been a little bit injury prone with your defense thus far this year with Lawrence and Parsons being out, mainly on the defensive line. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. All right.
We talked about this on YouTube already. This is obviously a less analysis of a version. So if you guys want to go check out last week's reaction, make sure you guys go check that out here on video. But keep listening to me and Cole, of course. But nonetheless, Hurts, once again, a bad half. Bad first half. Was holding the ball for too long, and I'm yelling at the TV, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. My grandfather's shaking his head next to me, and, it was a disaster the first half. The defense really held it down. It really kept us in the game there. And nonetheless, Hurts came out in the second half. He got it out of the pocket when needed. He was able to throw on the run. Even late in the first half, you saw it when he was able to get out of the pocket, make throws on the run, that one touchdown to Goddard. But nonetheless, second half, he was throwing the football well. Nothing really that you could critique Jalen Hurts on. You just got to get rid of the football. 5 sacks on, I think it was 16 dropbacks in the first half. That is unacceptable. That can't be happening. Hopefully tonight he gets rid of the football just a little bit more because obviously Washington is tied for 9th in sacks in the NFL. We'll get into that in just a little bit later. Saquon Barkley, they're not going to give him too many carries. While he did average 4.7 yards per carry, they were stacking the box the whole game. I did expect that to happen. The Cowboys were not going to let Saquon Barkley beat them, and they didn't, to be honest. They pretty much just let everybody else beat them. But, they were not going to let the ball go to Saquon. And credit to Kellen Moore understanding, where the Eagles' strengths are. Now, obviously, he refuses to put Jalen Hurts under center. That's a different subject for another time. But, good job noticing by him that where the Eagles would do better in. Receiving-wise, A.J. Brown, the 40-yard catch early in the game was very nice. 30-yard catch where he got wide open. He's the best one-on-one wide receiver in the NFL, and statistically, it proves it. There really is no debate, in my opinion. I'm a little disappointed that Devontae Smith didn't get the football. They kept running him on these post routes. Didn't let him get into his break until about 20 yards. I was hoping that they would run him more on a couple of out routes. I've been consistently saying it. Run him over the middle on some of those crossing routes. He's done a really good job this season of getting yards after the catch. Don't necessarily know why they're not doing that, but it is what it is. Dallas Goedert, 2 catches, 25 yards, and a touchdown. he's just getting back from that injury. I don't know. There were some times where I thought he was lazily running his routes, which kind of brought some cause for concern that he was not 100% ready, healthy. But it is what it is. Jahan Dotson, somehow the second leading receiver on the team with 27 yards. Though the ball was not passed around too often. Then the Eagles also, they didn't have their starters out there. Did not really pass the ball a lot in the second half because they didn't need to. But nonetheless, Dotson did a great job coming back for the football. We've seen that he can produce. Now we just need to do more. Get him the ball a little bit more. Just more from him, and we'll be fine. Offensive line-wise, I thought they weren't really finishing their blocks. As a team, they were not communicating well off the switches. They were not finishing their blocks. Chip blocks were not that good. They were just helping the Cowboys instead of punishing them, which is what chip blocks are meant for. They're supposed to make guys restart. They were just helping the Cowboys get through open gaps. So, not really that great on the offensive line. Second half, it was obviously cleaned up a little bit. But in the first half, it was abysmal. But obviously, Hurts holding on to the football has something to do with it. But you kind of understand where I'm coming from here. Defensively, as Cole mentioned, Jalen Carter, statistically, not really much, to talk about. Obviously, tackle for loss, had a pass deflection, 2 quarterback hits, and a half sack. Statistically, not doing so much, but impact-wise, he's done a great job. Obviously, he had that tackle on Rico Dowdle in the inside the 5 when the Cowboys were driving, so you love to see that there. Love to see Brandon Graham get a half a sack. Nolan Smith, not much anything from him. Nothing from Jordan Davis as well. We're probably going to need to see him tonight. And then Josh Sweat, not really anything as well. Milton Williams had I believe he had a tackle for a loss. If I'm looking at, yeah, he did have a tackle for a loss. So good game by him. Really like what he's doing this year. Linebackers wise, they seem like the MVPs of this defense, unless your name is Quinyon Mitchell. But Bond, Dean, you could just tell they were doing such a great job. The Cowboys were planning to go into the flats and try to create open tackling situations there. And the Eagles completely the Eagles played in their hands. They let them run into the flats. But the Cowboys were not able to take advantage of that because of how good Dean and Bond were were doing well when it came to open field tackling. So they were not able to get anything going. Shout out to them really quick. And then the secondary, Quinyon Mitchell, once again, Cole loves to get hold this one over my head that I had no faith in Quinyon Mitchell. And I really didn't. And I still personally apologize to Quinyon Mitchell if I ever meet him in person that I ever doubted him, because he has been absolutely incredible thus far. They were actually switching CeeDee Lamb off him. I just want to state that for the record. People who were saying that Quinyon Mitchell was not guarding CeeDee Lamb, they were switching him off. Go watch the film. But Darius Slay, can this guy just not get hurt for like a play? It seems like every single play this guy is hurt. Hurt his ankle on the first drive of the game. It feels like he's being injured from head to toe. Arms, groin, legs, ankles. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Goodness gracious, might as well play that when it comes to Darius Slay's injuries. He didn't have a terrible game. He did a good job defending the deep ball. Not that Cooper Rush throws it too well, but, he did a decent job. Isaiah Rodgers has done a good job stepping in for him. I would like to see him in there just a little bit more. Also saying that Darius Slay is going to be injured for, pretty much the whole game. Might as well keep him ready warm. Cooper DeJean, once again, he's a great tackler. All of his tackles were solo. You love to see that there. He might have to play over the middle tonight against Zach Ertz, so we'll see how he fares there. But he's done a pretty good job in coverage. Reed Blankenship, senior Gardner Johnson, not really much to talk about. Gardner Johnson with a great hit in the beginning of the game on the first play to really set the tone for the Philadelphia Eagles. Blankenship, not really much to talk about, but Gardner Johnson really made some nice tackles, had a pass deflection and all that, so he made some nice plays. Coaching-wise, I thought defensively they were fine. Playing the Cowboys one-on-one wasn't too hard. Obviously, you got to put a single high on you got to put a safety on CeeDee Lamb because of the fact that he's CeeDee Lamb. Other than that, you primarily can win your one-on-ones against these Cowboys receivers. Offensively, I just wish they would put Hurts under center a little bit more. Other than that, it's really fine. But nonetheless, that is it. Cole, if you don't have anything to say, I will ask you 2 questions here. Okay, yeah.
I have a question for you before you start.
Okay.
When is Brett coming back? Because it's pretty vague.
Never. I think they're just keeping him on the injured reserve because they don't want to see him play. There's got to be some sort of agreement that he's just going to finish out the year, because if he were to be cut or traded, nobody would want him. And if you were to trade him, the teams would probably want draft capital with that. So I think they're just going to keep him on injured reserve. It's not like he probably will be playing regardless. Obviously Cole, you mentioned in the summer that he was having good reps at safety, but Gardner Johnson in the past couple of weeks has been guarding a little bit better. Pass defending. Blankenship, while against Cincinnati did not play well in the past, he played well against Dallas. Majority of the year he's played well, and he hits really well. Sidney Brown deserves a lot more reps. I really like what he's been doing. So that's your safety spot taken up. Slot corners, Cooper DeJean has been playing incredible since his debut as a starter. He probably could play over Avonte Maddox, who's been playing terribly in coverage snaps this year. Obviously, on the X, you have Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, who's been playing well in the times he's gotten, and obviously Quinyon Mitchell, who is the defensive rookie of the year by far thus far. So there's not really a spot for him. I assume they have some agreement. They're just going to keep him on injured reserve until the season ends, and they'll either cut him or his contract expires. I'm not really sure what that is like, but I really doubt he's coming back. But anyway, Cole, I'll ask you two questions before we get into your NFL topic. On Combat Hour, we discussed two fights that are happening this weekend. We gave some predictions. First of all, predict Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul tomorrow, and then for Saturday, if you could predict two UFC fights: Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, and John Jones and Stipe Miocic.
Sweet. So I'll do the boxing first.
All right.
I have Mike Tyson knocking out Jake Paul. I mean, there's just no doubt in my mind. If Jake Paul wins this fight, I will not believe boxing anymore. Because there is no way that Mike Tyson does not beat him. I mean, you guys, I hope you guys said the same thing, but I mean, this is
not me. I have Jake Paul winning.
Maybe that's another topic.
Well, you're our picks aficionado, so I'm not disagreeing with you.
I'll put $1 on it. How about that?
All right.
Sweet. Okay, we got a little wager. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that Mike Tyson is ready for this fight. He obviously got injured before, but I think he's ready. He's had a lot of time to recover. He's had a lot of time to train. He's looking fit. I'm liking what he's been doing. I've been watching a bunch of his sparring videos. He looks really good in the ring, and I cannot wait for this fight on Friday. I will be at University of Richmond doing a baseball workout for the beginning of the fight. So hopefully he knocks him out later so I can see it live. And then your other two questions.
Oliveira and Chandler, and then Miocic and Jones.
Okay. I'm going to take Charles Oliveira here.
Yeah.
I don't think that's much of a surprise.
Yeah, I think it'll happen too.
I don't really know. Maybe I'll just take a unanimous decision. And then John Jones, Stipe, Miocic.
You're thinking. I'm surprised you're thinking.
As much as I love John Jones, I can't do this. I really can't.
Whoa.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna say John Jones, just so I don't get clowned.
Okay.
But if Miocic wins, don't be surprised.
No, I'm not. I won't be surprised either.
You know what? I'll take him. I'll take Miocic.
You're gonna take Stipe. See, I think Stipe is the big. We talked about this on Combat Hour. I think Stipe is the biggest underdog in UFC history. That nobody ever picks him, but then he always comes out on top.
Yeah, I agree. Underdog mentality. I think he likes it.
Yeah, I agree. They just had the press conference today. I wasn't able to catch wind of it. I'll probably see highlights on Twitter or whatever. But yeah, getting back into the NFL. After we just did those picks, or Cole just did his picks. Cole, you have some awards to give out, some mid-season awards. Well, I guess post-mid-season awards. But yeah, we have MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, and Coach of the Year. So start us off.
All right, so I'm going to start off with Coach of the Year. I'll give my two top guys. Obviously, I'll go with Dan Quinn from the Commanders. at the 2 spot. I mean, he's done a great job. He deserves a lot of credit for that turnaround in Washington. They were horrible last year. I mean, you just look at just some guys in general. Terry McLaurin, look at the steps that he's taken. Look at Jaden Daniels. He went from LSU, obviously a very, very good LSU career, won the Heisman, but, he didn't. I mean, he wasn't in this type of position before. You look at the rest of their roster, the different signings that they've had over the offseason, the different changes they made in the front office, and, around the locker room. Austin Eckler's been able to, step up when Robinson has been out. I mean, they've done a very, very good job, and they're in a very, very good position. And then, obviously, this one's pretty straightforward. Number one, I got Mike Tomlin. There really is no other option. I'd say earlier in the year, you could go O'Connell from the Vikings, but, I mean, Mike Tomlin's the obvious decision here. At this point in time, they're above the Ravens, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think they're above by half a game.
Yeah. Because of the bye.
Yeah, because Mike Tomlin has been so great for them. And we look at them every year, and we say, Steelers are going to stink this year. But Mike Tomlin always keeps them in it, man. And I mean, whether it's Ben Roethlisberger, it's Kenny Pickett with the tiny hands, it's Justin Fields, it's Russell Wilson, it's, a crazy, wide receiver or running back. I mean, he's dealt with, a bunch of locker room problems. He's dealt with a lot of problems on the field, performance-wise. And, he's been able to step up time and time again. And, he's really got a solid squad this year. His defense is looking like one of the best in the league, obviously, as per usual, especially with the front of T.J. Watt and Minka Fitzpatrick. Jordan Porter's done a great job stepping up as well, I will say that, because he is in my top 2 for DPOY, or Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Joey Porter? Joey Porter?
Yeah, Joey Porter, my fault.
Wait, Joey Porter's in the sophomore year.
Oh, that's right. I keep getting them mixed up. Oh, brother.
You're all right.
Anyways, sorry. I was thinking of Beanie Bishop. I'm getting them mixed up.
You're good. We're good. We all.
All right. So, number 2 for Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Jared Verse. Don't sleep on him. He could be above Quinyon Mitchell in the coming days. He's done a very, very good job, especially pressuring the quarterback. They lost Aaron Donald. They picked up Jared Verse. He's done a very, very good job. Pick number 19. Really, really great edge rusher. And then number 1, obviously I'm going Quinyon Mitchell. A little bit of bias here because Verse has done a really good job.
Oh, no, it's Mitchell undisputably. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, but Mitchell, I mean, you just look at the guys he's going up against. It's just been, time and time again, he's just been on lockdown. Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb.
Mike Evans, Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, you can go on and on with naming the guys. Tough. I mean, the only tough play that he really had was those 2 back-to-back games from Darnell Mooney against the Falcons in that game-winning drive. Other than that, he's been virtually perfect, pretty much. And you love to see that. Offensive Rookie of the Year, I will give my top 3 because Brian Thomas does need to be given his flowers. He's done a very, very good job, especially with a struggling Jags team. He's done a really good job stepping up. I believe he's number 1 target on that team. I believe he's the best threat on that team in general. Brock Bowers, number 2, obviously. You can't top Jaden Daniels, obviously. But Brock Bowers has done an incredible job stepping up. Leads all tight ends in receptions, receiving yards, first downs, yards after the catch. He's done a really, really, really great job. Unfortunately, he can't find the end zone that much, but obviously that's a quarterback problem, that's a team problem, and eventually, hopefully, the Raiders can get good so that he can, strive in a very good offense. And then obviously number 1, Jake Daniels. I mean, you could put him in the MVP conversation at this point, but he's done a great job. He's better than Pat Mahomes. He's better than Dak Prescott. He's better than Brock Purdy. He's legitimately, I'd say he's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFC easily. You could say top 2. I'd say him and Goff. But Goff, I mean, he's got a ton of weapons on his team. Jaden Daniels is constantly switching out, especially with, the inconsistency of Robinson there at running back. But yeah, I mean, he's done a great job facilitating for that team, and hot start, and the fact that he was so good offensively, completion wise, and just getting into the end zone in general. I mean, he's got to be recognized. DPOY, here I'm going to give TJ Watt runner-up. He's done a very, very good job overall, but he's not better than this guy, Trey Hendrickson. He's done so good. Leads the league in sacks and quarterback hits. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind he's the best defensive player in this league. The Bengals, they haven't been great defensively, but he's obviously been the best guy out there. No doubt in my mind. And shouldn't be a doubt in anybody else's mind. Even though TJ Watt has the better team, Hendrickson just held it down so well over there for the Bengals. And then Offensive Player of the Year. Number 2, I'm going to go with Saquon. He's been really, really good. 5.9 yards a carry, 8 touchdowns in 8 games. That was a good while back. And then, just continuing to look at his metrics. I mean, he's just been the second best running back in the league consistently. Really beating down on, some of the teams with the less strong run defenses. Obviously, he struggled a little bit against Dallas, but that's only because they game planned only around him. Obviously, you stated that earlier, with spreading the ball to, the other guys. Yeah, he's been very, very good. And especially because, you have that, ability to, obviously run with Hurts and run with Saquon, a little dual threat action there. Speaking of dual threat, Lamar and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is my Offensive Player of the Year, and MVP goes to Lamar. I'll start with Lamar. Lamar has been incredible this year. His stats through 10 games last year for his MVP year are so much worse than this year. I mean, what is his I think his touchdown to interception ratio is 12-1.
Might be, yeah.
But I'm not completely sure. I think it's 24-2, if I'm not mistaken.
Might be.
But first of all, Derrick Henry, you finally get to see him behind a great O-line and a great quarterback in a great system. Titans, that's just not his mojo. I mean, he loved it there. I mean, I respect Ryan Tannehill and Will Levis and, whoever he was, rolling with down there. But, this hasn't changed. It's been the same since week 1. He's been the best player in the league on the offensive side of the ball, other than his teammate Lamar Jackson. And then I'll move on to MVP. I already said Lamar Jackson, my pick. Jaden Daniels, my runner-up. Like I said, I have him over Goff. Lamar Jackson. You can't pick anybody over him. He's been the best quarterback in the league. Great yard per attempt, throwing-wise. And he showed he can be an elite passer as well as an elite runner. Ryan?
I disagree with you in 2. And I say Dan Quinn is the coach of the year. Just because of the fact that we expected the Steelers to get at least 7 wins, 6 wins. Now, they obviously are exceeding that goal. But the Commanders, they were probably expected to win 3-4 games, and they are far exceeding that goal. With a win today, I think they're the second best team in the NFC behind the Lions. And obviously, Dan Quinn has something to do with that. So I think currently Dan Quinn is the coach of the year. And based off these week's games, that could very well change. If the Commanders win and the Steelers win, then I think Mike Tomlin should probably be. But if it's vice versa, then I think I'll continue to say Dan Quinn. And then for Defensive Player of the Year, you didn't mention this guy, Xavier McKinney. This guy leading the league in interceptions, probably the best safety this year outside of guys like Kyle Hamilton, Brian Branch, and others. But this guy has been the best at his position, leads the league in picks right now, and no one has been able to do anything over him. I think Xavier McKinney, and then I would say Trey Hendrickson is number 2. But if there's not anything else you have to say, we'll move on to the Chiefs. All right, so now the Kansas City Chiefs. Are they as good as it's hype? Now, I'll start here. Listen, I think the Chiefs winning these close games is actually good for them. Now, let me explain. This is a team that hasn't faced adversity that much over the past couple of years because they've been so dominant. But also, I want to mention something. They are a defensive-led team. This has been the same. These back-to-back Super Bowls, their defense has been better than their offense. I mean, you can't tell me it hasn't been. So they're a defensive-led team, and I just think because the offense is not, producing at such a high level, people are like getting all mad about it. Patrick Mahomes is at this stage of his career. I like to compare it to Jordan. Like Jordan was at a stage where he was putting up these high numbers, yada, yada, yada. But then there was a stage where he was winning championships. That isn't what Patrick Mahomes is doing now. 2018, whatever and all that. That was his, stat year or whatever. But now is his time to start winning. Not so much winning the MVPs. He doesn't need to win the MVP award, but he's very interested in winning the championship. Now, obviously, Travis Kelce is doing better than what he once was doing. I would know because he was pissing me off in fantasy for the first 9 weeks. But you obviously got DeAndre Hopkins. Pacheco is going to come back after the Bills game. The only concern I have for the Kansas City Chiefs offensively when it comes to the playoffs is the left tackle position. I mean, you have to be able to protect the blind side of the quarterback. I believe, and I will always say that the left tackle is the second most important position on the field. So you have to make sure that Patrick Mahomes is protected. Now the Chiefs, I think, are the best team in the NFL. They've beaten some really good teams. They beat the 49ers. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They beat the Falcons. They've beaten the Baltimore Ravens. The Bengals they're iffy. They're losing close games, the Bengals. But the Chiefs beat them as well. That's a little more controversial. But they've beaten good teams this year. Obviously, the Broncos was a bit of a problem. But they're holding teams to a really good amount of points. Teams that have really good offenses. Like the Ravens were held to 20 points. And the Falcons were held to 17. Like these are pretty good offenses from 49ers to 18. These are good offenses, and they're holding them to that amount. Now, obviously, it's through 10 weeks. We're through 10 weeks. We're about to start week 11. Obviously, you want to see this offense work a little bit better. But you just traded for a new number one wide receiver who is trying to get into a system that is very complicated. I mean, it took when I played prep football and all that. It took the playbook was complicated for us. Because that's how I think we're one of the better teams. Our playbook is very complicated, and it took me the whole summer. It took our receiving core the whole summer to fully get implemented into this system. This is an NFL system being traded as the year, and with a guy who's being traded as the year is going on. That is a very, very, very complicated thing to learn. And I feel like, maybe when we start getting into the later stages of the year, they might pick it up a little bit more, maybe start blowing some teams out. I'm not necessarily sure. But I'm not concerned about the Chiefs. Are they as good as it's hyped? The offense is not at the current moment in time, but the defense is, in my opinion. They can lose to the Buffalo Bills, not saying they can't. But right now, this team's winning. For me, this team's winning the Super Bowl, and I will continue to say that until the team knocks them off in the playoffs, which in the past couple of years has been none. Cole?
Yeah, I agree with you, especially with the trading aspect. You saw Amari Cooper's first touchdown as a Bill. Coleman told him the route to run right before he ran it. I think they're in a great spot. Obviously, 8-0 is where you want to be at. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they went undefeated. Super Bowl-wise, yeah. They're my front runner right now. As much as I hate to say it, as much as I dislike Patrick Mahomes and the offense that they have there, I can't hate on Andy Reid. But, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I don't like the Chiefs, but, they are the best team, as much as I hate to say it, and as much as I think that the reporters or commentators delays Patrick Mahomes and the officiating crew is biased towards the Chiefs. As much as I want to believe that, we do have to give Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs their flowers.
It's gotten so bad that there is now AI voices on TikTok of them with the that is how you know it's gotten bad. Obviously, I'm not going to discuss what is said in those videos, but nonetheless, we move on. Was there anything? I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say. So let's move on here to the Philadelphia 76ers, who have a current record of 2-9 and are absolutely pissing me off. Now, I want to say for the record right now that the Sixers are not fully healthy, but there are definitely flaws in the game. First of all, I want to point out the paint defense. You signed Andre Drummond, you signed Yabusele. Not even going to try to pronounce his first name. I have to learn it before I start doing baseball commentating again. But nonetheless, you have Drummond, you have Yabusele. These are guys who can defend the paint. And you're consistently giving up 50, 60, 70 points in the paint, which is just absolutely abysmal and is something that cannot be happening every time per game. That's your first problem. Second problem is that Paul George needs to get implemented into this system. I mean, he went on Podcast P and was saying, I still got to get into the system and whatnot. Well, damn it, what the hell were you not studying the playbook and studying how the team moves and all that when you were sitting on the sideline doing a whole bunch of nothing? I mean, were you not studying? Were you not doing your homework on what the Sixers do? I mean, I understand you have to play to get fully implemented, but gee, Monique, you have to, take a whole, you have to use the rest of your contract to get implemented. I mean, what the hell's going on here? Joel Embiid, give him some slack. He's not playing on back-to-back games. Obviously, he said that, which got him. He's not playing in any more back-to-back games, which got him in a world of trouble. But he's been in a lot of trouble. But that's a different subject for another day. But obviously, he's not playing in back-to-back games, which is tough. Paul George not playing in back-to-back games either, it seems. And there's no Tyrese Maxey to hold the load down. They were leading over the Cleveland Cavaliers going into halftime. They were leading by a pretty good margin over an undefeated team. We'll get into the Cavs in just a minute here. And then then the defense just could not defend the Cavaliers. I mean, the paint is the biggest problem, in my opinion. They have got to be better there. And, our role players are not playing terrible. I mean, Yabusele, almost 10 points per game. Martin, 11 points per game. He's not playing as well as I thought he would be. I wish he'd have more of an impact. Jared McCain has been one of the greatest bright spots this team has seen. 34 against Cleveland. As of right now, I know it's very, very early in the year. He is the rookie of the year. He has played incredible. He seems to make any single jump shot at any single time, at any point in time in the game. He seems like he can't miss, evidently with his 45% field goal percentage and his 38% from three. But, speaking of the three, as a team, we're shooting 32%. Maxey, even before he went down, was shooting just over 20, just shooting 28% from three. Paul George 30% as he's played thus far. But McCain's really been our only bright spot from three. Kelly Oubre only 25%. We're not. I don't know if we're not shooting enough threes. We're only shooting about we're shooting about 37 per game, but we're only making 12 per game. That is something that we just can't see. 12 times 3, that's 36 points in total threes. And you see the way teams like the Boston Celtics are playing, who just chuck up a bunch of threes, and they make most of them. We got to get with the times here, and we have to start shooting the three ball better. The paint, in my opinion, is the biggest problem. You're giving up way too many points there, and it's got to be a lot better. Cole?
Yeah, I disagree. I don't think paint's our biggest problem. I think it's offensively. We have the third worst points per game in the league, and we've been to overtime already once. It's brutal. I mean, we're only in front of the Jazz and the Pelicans, who are without Zion Williamson for the time being. I'll start with Tyrese Maxey. He's been our biggest bright spot, obviously. I love to touch on Jared McCain a little bit, but I mean, Tyrese Maxey, what he did in the first couple games, obviously he didn't do it very efficiently. He was our offensive plug. 40 minutes a game is tough for a guy. You're getting 2 minutes on the bench per game. I get you have an OT game, so that adds a little bit more to the average, but still, with the time he's been given, he's done a very, very good job. He needs to get his assists up. He needs to pass the ball around a little bit more. I understand guys aren't knocking down shots as much as you want them to, but, you need to get the rack around the guys. Paul George, he's been okay. Only 5 games played, so he cut him some slack there. 17 points per game. 2 steals per game. I do love that defensively. He's kind of stepped up in a role that Melton played earlier last year. Oubre, I need much more out of him. He's only averaging 14 a game. Not enough assists. I mean, at this point, assists are a bit of a problem. I mean, we're not dishing the ball off. We're not trusting our guys. Obviously, we're not hitting many shots. But, offensively, it's been a big issue. Jared McCain, he started one game. He had 34 and 10. I mean, he had 10 assists. That's the type of performance you want to see from a guy. McCain, he needs to be in the starting rotation now. I believe that he's proved himself. He's very, very scrappy. Ricky Council needs to get more minutes. He's the scrappiest guy on this team. He fights for rebounds.
All from last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's my guy. He's better than Reggie Jackson. He's better than Eric Gordon. Those guys are old heads. You love Eric Gordon's 20 minutes and only 6 measly points, and he's shooting horrible. I don't even know what he's shooting, but it's not good. I'll tell you that much. I don't know why he started the game. I know Ricky Council's only getting 8 minutes a game. He's getting, 3 points out of it? I mean, it's not horrible. I mean, you give the guy more credit, more opportunities. By the way, Jared McCain, his shooting percentage would be much better if he wasn't putting the game in the last 2 minutes and needed to chuck up threes to win. You look at the Memphis game where he was putting, I mean, he had, 20, 23, I'd say? I forget, but he let a bit of a comeback there in that fourth quarter, and, obviously had to chuck up a bunch of, unwarranted shots with the shot clock expiring and whatnot, and needing, to get in the firing range, maybe even put the starters back in if they got close enough. But, I mean, yeah, he's been the bright spot in this team. Now that Maxi's out, he's really got to step up. I believe he should be an everyday starter at this point. Like you said, he's the front runner for him, or for Rookie of the Year. But I will say my value pick at plus 1,500 on whatever. Wells for the Memphis Grizzlies. How is he not higher? He's 2 in MVP in my MVP voting. It's McCain, Wells, E. I don't see it any other way. It's completely an offensive problem. And Ryan, I'll turn it back over to you.
I'm actually going to transition back over to you in just a second here. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 13-0, and they are looking like a dangerous team to start. Cole, I mean, we got to talk about this Cavs team. They are looking absolutely incredible. Everybody's talking about the Celtics, the Warriors, and the Lakers and all that, but it seems like the Cavaliers have somehow – it feels like they've fallen under the radar, even though they are 13-0 to start the year. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, you go into the new year with a new head coach, right? And, you would see expectations completely. Donovan Mitchell, even though he's only averaging 24 a game, he has been so good for them. He's averaging under two turnovers. He's averaging 2.2. He's averaging 2 turnovers a game. That's their biggest, key. They're only averaging 12 as a team. And speaking of poor offenses, here's the best offense in the league, averaging 121.8. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. I mean, you look at Darius Garland, he stepped up in a big way. Obviously, he took kind of a step down in assists, I believe. Evan Mobley, he's looking like a DPOI, potential, I'd say. He's been great blocking. And like you said, our paint defense isn't that great. I mean, Evan Mobley would be a phenomenal addition, to say the least. I mean, he's been incredible for them. Jared Allen, he's been good holding it down for them. And then off the bench, Ty Jerome has been a great plug for them off the bench. 10 points per game in 16 minutes. I mean, you got guys like Niang, Okoro, Dean Wade coming off the bench. I mean, they've just been incredible pretty much. And they're really relying on starters pretty much. Giving them proper rest, like I said. Maxey was averaging 38 minutes a game. And you look at Donovan Mitchell, he's averaging 31, and no one's really above 30 other than Evan Mobley. So, I mean, they're really giving, other guys opportunities. They don't even really have a small forward. I mean, they have Okoro and Wade trading, and, they have not been very good offensively. But, just that constant rotation of guys And, LeVert has really stepped up. He hasn't started a single game. He's averaging 11.5. That's something you'd really like to see. And then speaking of offensive plugs, their three-point percentage, 41.2. I mean, you talk about ours. It is just brutal. They have us by, 10%?
Something around there, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then they're shooting over 50 from the field. I mean, you just cannot stop at this point. Their effectiveness on the court offensively, not even taking into account that they've been defensively phenomenal. I believe they're the best defensive team other than the Thunder in the league. And, now that Thunder lost Chet, I think they're going to take a hit. And, the Cavs might end up being, the best defense and offense in the league thus far this season. So, there's nothing wrong you can do here other than trade away all your guys because they've been playing phenomenal. And I don't see them cooling off anytime soon. And do I see them being better than the Celtics?
It's possible.
That'll come later.
Depends on when Porzingis gets back.
Yeah, whatever.
hopefully James is not watching the show. But
I hope he is. The Celtics stink. Talking about 1 seed, not even in the 1 seed. 3 games bad. Actually, I should stop talking, dude. My team doesn't have 3 wins.
I know. Nonetheless, turning over onto the Cleveland Cavaliers. Listen, Kenny Atkinson, while Kevin Durant did not want him on the Brooklyn Nets, he didn't want to be there either. He didn't want to deal with that bunch of egos. And something I credit Kenny Atkinson for was rallying troops behind him and, letting everybody play the game the right way. Now, with that Nets team in 2019, they were the 16 and went to the playoffs with a bunch of outcasts and role players. They were a good team. And you take this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Now, obviously, this Cleveland Cavaliers team is better than the Nets team. But you just have the perfect combination of stars and role players where last year JB Bickerstaff did not do a good job rallying the troops behind him and letting guys play the right way. It kind of was just all of Donovan Mitchell. Evan Mobley did not look nearly as good offensively as he did this year. Jared Allen is finally stepping up into his role as a really good defensive piece, someone that can also score. And Darius Garland is being used as the point guard. He's a great passer. Donovan Mitchell, in the beginning of his career, was used more of a shooting guard. He played really well with Mike Conley as the primary point guard, and for whatever reason, when he was brought over to Cleveland, he was being used as the point guard on some occasions. So, I feel like Kenny Atkinson is having them play the right way. They really have everything. They have I guess you could say Donovan Mitchell is a superstar. I'm going to say star/superstar at this current moment in time. But, he's not stat padding, obviously. He's really playing the right way. Darius Garland has been a great facilitator. He's really the guy that's keeping the team together. Then you got these twin towers and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, who are just doing a phenomenal job. Paint defense, that's another thing. And then also they are shooting very well as a team. Evidently 41% from 3, as Cole mentioned, 51% from the field. Give a shout out here to Ty Jerome, who is shooting 57% from 3 and 61% from the field. Everybody's shooting well. Even Evan Mobley, who is not a good 3-point shooter at all, is shooting 33%. So you got to give him somewhat credit where credit is due there. Even though he only throws up only like 1 3 per game or so, you got to give him credit where credit is due. Donovan Mitchell, 40% from 3. Darius Garland, 44%. I think he's the most important piece to this team, in my opinion. Then you got Karis LeVert, another great role player. They just have a great combination of role players and an all-star, and I say 2 all-stars in Garland and Mitchell. And they're just coached by the right guy who, doesn't need superstars to help them win. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's superstars. I'd just say it's a bunch of hoopers playing together and just having some fun. I mean, you look at this team, they're having a ton of fun out there. And, I mean, even in that Sixers game, I mean, other than McCain giving them a hard time, I mean, they were just cruising. You know, I mean, you look at Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, you could say he's a superstar. I would call him a superstar because he's the best player on the best team. But, I mean, like, I can't call Jason Tatum a superstar because Jalen Brown's better than him. But anyways, you know, I had to throw a little.
No, I think Tatum will be better than Brown, or will be considered better than Brown if Brown got more shots.
Well, yeah, and Jason Tatum's from Duke, and they're like marketing.
I hate Duke.
But yeah, I mean, there's just a bunch of guys having fun. All in all, I mean, a bunch of guys getting paid to play basketball. I mean, what better could you ask for? This is a team built on chemistry, and you know, obviously you got a ton of great guys there. But yeah, like you said, bunch of guys having fun, and I'm liking what they're doing in Cleveland.
Yeah, unless they beat us, but you know, nonetheless, they're playing great. Hopefully, the Sixers can turn it around. We've had a great episode here, not what we expected for this week. We obviously will be back on Monday, but before we wrap up, we got two more things to do, and one of them is Ryan's rant. So, Cole, give me the first topic.
Jake Moody.
All right, I don't know who this guy is. I mean, I didn't even know who this guy was coming out of the draft. And the 49ers trade up in the third round. Did you know we got Kobe Dean in the third round? Cole, did you know that? I mean, this guy's been playing out of this world. Kobe Dean, they traded up for a kicker, and this guy can't make a clutch kick for nothing. Obviously had the game winner, but missed about 3 before that. I mean, this guy is terrible. It wouldn't have even come to that game-winning kick if this guy could have made some more. I mean, this is honestly ridiculous. This guy seems allergic to facing some adversity, man. I mean, make your damn kicks. I don't know what the problem is. I could pull Leo Ritchie out from St. Joe's Prep, throw him on the field, and maybe, I'd give him a better chance than Jake Moody at this current moment in time. I mean, this is an honest disgrace. Where'd they find Brandon Aubrey? Wasn't he in some soccer league? Where'd they find him from? The streets of Europe? I mean, gee, Mané. I mean, this guy's the best kicker in the league. Jake Moody's been training since Pee Wee football to make this happen. And, he can't make a kick for his life, but they find some soccer player, and this guy's over here kicking in the NFL. This is why they call soccer the real football, damn it. Thanks a lot, Jake Moody. Moving on to the second topic.
All right. You're a fan of Notre Dame, I'm a fan of Penn State.
Well, I'm also a fan of Penn State. I'm a fan of both, but I like...
Oh, yeah, I know, but you'd rather have Notre Dame. I mean...
I don't know, actually.
Really?
I don't know. I feel like... you get it.
Look. Penn State finally waking up.
You damn idiots. I mean, what the hell is going on here today? Against Ohio State, you look like a bunch of bums who can't move the ball. Then against Washington, you wake up. I don't care about the levels of competition. I really, really don't. Everything was firing on all cylinders against Washington. And then, against Ohio State, you just didn't look alive at all. I mean, you were playing in Happy Valley. You were playing with the crowd behind you. You started out great, and you played terribly. Then you come out offensively, and you played just like absolute terrible. I mean, it was a disgrace the way they were playing. But then they somehow wake up against Washington, and, oh, my goodness, my cheesesteaks, not giving me the cardio I'd like to speak. Cardio. The hell? I mean, the wind. Nonetheless, then you wake up against Washington and somehow you look like the greatest team on earth. Somehow you're ranked 4th in the nation at this current moment in time. I'm not really sure how, but hell, I'll take it. Moving on to the last one.
All right. Okay. The Jets and Giants being a disgrace.
I mean, the Giants, I think, was a gimme, but, I'm the Jets, man. I mean, how could you look this bad? Listen, the Cardinals are underrated. I will tell you that right now. But let me tell you something. You got absolutely blown out by, the Jets, the Steelers. I mean, you got absolutely blown out by these teams. You shouldn't be getting blown out. You got one of the best offenses in the NFL on paper, and you look terrible. Aaron Rodgers taking trips to Egypt, trading for his best friends, firing coaches. I mean, gee, I might as well get a job at the New York Jets at this point to be the offensive coordinator. I mean, I might apply. I swear to God, Cole, Woody Johnson might take me at this point. The way if Aaron Rodgers really wanted me.
I got a better chance to get some success than Nathaniel Hackett does. I mean, come on, what the hell are we doing here? At least I know how the Jets offense can operate. But, nonetheless, this is a disgrace here. The New York media, I'm glad the New York media is probably eating this team up. I don't read the New York papers, not worth my time. But, I'm glad that the New York media is probably eating these teams up because of all the damn all the damn media people, all the national media hyping these Jets up in the beginning of the year. The higher they climb, the harder they fall, and I'm glad we're seeing it at this current moment in time because I was tired of hearing with them before the year.
All right, so right before we make our Eagles predictions, I have two things to say. Ryan, let me get your opinion. Number 7 Tennessee taking on number 12 Georgia. Georgia is the first team out right now. Who do you have winning that game?
No, it's me putting you on the spot. Damn it. But I'm gonna go with Tennessee. Georgia's coming off a really tough loss to where I thought they were going to lose against Ole Miss. In all reality, I'm gonna go with Tennessee here. Georgia just does not have the momentum. I think their Carson Beck is overrated.
Thank you for saying that. I need to address that real quick. Tennessee is going to win this game because Carson Beck is going to throw 2 interceptions.
All right, well, some pretty strong opinions, but yeah, I'll take Tennessee. The defense is still good from Georgia. That's obviously a gimme, but their offense is just, a game man. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Stetson Bennett was a great game manager. And being called a game manager, I really don't see how that is an insult. You're telling me that Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Stetson Bennett were all game managers? Well, damn it. Two of that, Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy both went to the Super Bowl. Stetson Bennett won 2 national championships. I was being called a game manager and I was winning championships. I really could care less. But yeah, this Carson Beck's not that good. He does too much.
I agree. And one more thing, they call me the predictions guy for a reason, and I'm gonna make a bold one right now. I have Mercer Bears taking down the Crimson Tide. Many people are not going to believe me, but I have faith in Mercer. This was a crazy poll. 9-1 Mercer. I think they can do it. Alabama struggled. Again, they don't have Saban. Milroe has been great, but, as much as I like to say it, or as much as I hate to say it, I have a feeling that the Crimson Tide are going to lose this game.
Wow.
Mercer's been hot, man.
Wow.
And, I will take Mercer. Ryan, you got anything on this, sir?
I feel like ever since Ryan Williams had that incredible game against Georgia, I feel like no one's been talking about him.
I guess you could say good reason. They haven't done a lot.
Yeah, they've been losing.
You lose the big games. You lose to Vandy, you lose to Tennessee. You beat South Carolina and Missouri, who are 21 and 24.
Bama and Georgia are still good teams, but I feel like they're always on upset alert, and they're always just they're under such heavy microscopes. Georgia really should have found a way to keep Dylan Raiola because he's playing great at Nebraska. But anyway, you see that Michigan's offering $10.5 million to try and get Bryce Underwood from LSU. That's insane. You don't even need to go to the NFL. You don't need to go. You don't even need to go to the NFL. I don't like their quarterback LSU. Newsom here. He's not good.
Yeah.
But that's crazy.
DJ Smith of Mercer is taking down Alabama.
But $10.5 million for a quarterback, a college quarterback, a 5-star quarterback.
There's been worse. Let's look at FSU.
That's true.
Brother.
That's bad.
All right. Well, Eagles predictions. You want to?
I said this in my video already, but which came out earlier. You guys can watch that just before the Eagles game. Sorgi's doing the Eagles game. Let's go, Sorgi. But nonetheless, I'll be live as well at 8:15 for that. So make sure you guys tune in. But I'm taking the Commanders 28-25. I don't think I think the Eagles will score, but I think that the Eagles have not played that great of offenses over the past couple of weeks. To where they are not going to win this game, and I don't think that the Eagles offense, or I don't think the Eagles defense is really going to be able to hold this Commanders offense, especially with Brian Robinson Jr. coming back.
I do think they will.
All right.
And, they've been probably one of the best defenses the last couple weeks. holding their opponents to like 14 points per game going into the week or going into last week. And then, you do a solid job against the Cowboys, holding them to, what did they hold them to?
Like they're 6.
Yeah, 6 it was. Yeah, so I picked this team. You should have some good scouting. You weren't sure with Cooper Rush, but now, you have a bunch of film on Jaden Daniels. You have him against, other teams that you played. You probably have a good game plan. I trust Nick Sirianni's game plan. A lot of people are putting a ton of pressure on Nick Sirianni. He's done a great job as a head coach this year, and people are throwing him under the bus for the measly losses. He does take points off the board, but we would not be here if it weren't for Nick Sirianni. I would like to say that real quick. And yeah, I will take the Eagles. I will take them 35-30. I think this is going to be a shootout. Like I said, I don't think the defense are going to come into play as much here. Devontae Smith, Commander's killer. He's going to come out. He's going to have 1 touchdown, over 100 yards. I'm feeling a big game from him. You have to find a way to slow Saquon Barkley, keep him under 70 yards. That's slowing Saquon. Offensive Player of the Year, runner-up in my opinion. Yeah, so I will take him 35-30. I have nothing else, Ryan.
Joe Felici's at the game, man, and I'm not.
Hey,
we are going December 8th. We are going December 8th. I was just about to say that. CR7 will be at the Eagles on December 8th. They're not ready.
Section 202, if anyone's near that section. And
no crazies come up to us.
Oh, yeah, well, we're the first row, so don't push us over the railing.
Especially not me. Especially not me. Cole's got better upper body strength. He can hold on.
Oh, brother.
But anyway, yeah, once again, not really. Actually, we do got a lot of things to promote here. At least I do. Eagles game in about under 30 minutes time. And then tomorrow, I don't know. It's up in the air. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I don't want to ruin my voice for Saturday. I know Georgie said he's not doing his Marquette game on Friday, so maybe I'll follow in his footsteps. Yeah, I'll be on play-by-play for that. Cole will be in Richmond. He'll be sure to tell us that on Monday, so we wish good luck to him. And then Saturday, me and Ryan Connaughton, UFC 309. We'll be live streaming that right here on YouTube. And
Wait, what's that? Thursday night?
Saturday night.
Do we have off then? Oh, yeah.
When?
I might.
We have off tomorrow.
I might come over for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Cole UFC 309 is at 10 o'clock at night.
Is that chill? I don't know.
At UFC.
We'll talk.
If you're coming over at 10 o'clock at night on Saturday night, I mean,
yeah,
we'll see. We'll discuss this.
I'm also not a block away, like Ryan.
That is also true. Well, if you do want to come down, it's fun. Yeah. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
We don't want to talk about this on our show.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I gotta get ready for the Eagles game. 30 minutes time. I gotta throw on a jersey. I don't know which jersey I'm wearing yet. I think either Jalen, Saquon, or Dallas Goedert. I'm thinking Dallas Goedert. I don't know.
I agree. I was gonna say the same things.
All right.
Go my team. Go rep them. Go Birds.
Jahan Dotson revenge game as well. And yeah, that'll do for the latest edition of the CR7 Podcast, guys. And we will see you later. Peace.